So we are Hey everybody, welcome back to Overland, Florida. I'm Kevin, I'm with Katie, and today we're at DeBary, Florida, and we're gonna launch the boat on the St. Johns River. So we're all the way up here on the St. Johns River, and we have about a 16-mile boat ride down the Wekiva River all the way down. We're gonna go to Wekiva Island, and right over here is Wekiva Springs. And if you guys are familiar with like Kelly Park, this is Rock Springs Run right here. So like I said, we got roughly 16 miles one direction all the way down. So it should be pretty interesting. Maybe we'll get to see some wildlife today. So we're on the St. Johns River right now. We're about to come up on a 25-mile-an-hour sign so we can pick up some speed. And we have probably just less than a mile before we hit the river we're trying to take. But it is a beautiful day. It is 75 degrees. This is a winter day in Florida. So we found the first little hangout camping spot. It's got a rope swing and everything. This is on the St. Johns River. You can see where people have camped here and had little fires before. So far we haven't seen any gators or turtles. So we made it to the head of the Wekiva River, and it is just beautiful out here. It is a weekday. Today is Thursday. It's about noon, maybe 1 o'clock, and we've passed maybe 2 boats, but those are back at the boat ramp. And I think we're pretty much gonna have this entire 16 miles of river to ourselves today. So if you just stop out in the middle of the river and just be really quiet, you can hear all kinds of things in the woods and in the water. But this is a no-wake zone, and I think up here again it goes to 25 miles an hour, so we're gonna continue on down the river because we got quite the journey today. So Katie noticed and pointed out earlier that you can see the water line on the trees. So there must have been a flood sometime in the past few years where the water rose almost 4.5 feet. So I couldn't imagine this place with that much water. The river's a little high right now, but it's definitely manageable. So the water might look really dark on camera, and that's just because it's rained and it's a lot of tannic acid, but I can assure you the water is crystal clear, and even in the deep spots we can see all the way down to the very bottom. It's nice and sandy. There are so many birds out. It is awesome. So what we're doing this trip is I brought my DSLR, so Katie's gonna be in charge of that in case we see alligators or turtles, because the GoPro doesn't zoom, but for an action camera and boating, the GoPro's the better camera to use. So I'll be using that, and Katie will be doing the turtles, birds, and animals of prey, if you will. So there's the third little gator we've seen. They've all been about the same size, but this is the first one we've actually got to get on camera. The other two kind of just jumped in. So we still have about 15 miles to go, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna cruise about 10 to 15 miles an hour, just enough to get on plane, but not speed through everything and pass it. So I got the engine tilted almost all the way up so I can still get on plane, and it's not in the water very far because there are a lot of logs on this river. But if any of you are curious, yes, pontoon boats can make it through. We've already passed a few pontoon boats. We've passed a few bass boats too, so as long as you don't have some kind of really big trawler or something, you should be able to fit through here. So we just saw a monster 8-foot gator, and we're trying to get a video of him, but he just went under. It is one of the biggest gators I've seen in a long time. Look to your left. There's a little shallow spot over there they might be hanging out at. There's a lot of debris over here. Yeah, that thing was a monster. Maybe he'll be back whenever we come back up the river. So there's a gator that we saw go down. Oh, he's coming right up.
See him? Here he goes.
So there's a gator that we saw go down. He's coming right up. I'm gonna try to put the GoPro in the water. See how close we can get to him. I went back down. He was underneath the boat, and to the naked eye, we can see the actual floor of the river. The water's pretty clear. I was gonna stick the GoPro down there, but he just popped up again. Good to go. We totally just hit a log underwater so hard, I'm pretty sure the prop is bent. Anyway, we're on the prowl because we just had another like 7-foot alligator get away from us, and it was probably 2 feet from the boat. It did the same thing the other gator did. It went right underneath the boat, and we could see it on the bottom of the river, but it was just swimming pretty fast. So I think we probably have about 4 or 5 miles left, maybe a little bit longer. It's hard to gauge on the phone. But we've hit so many things with our propeller and our lower unit that I'm kind of afraid to even look at it. But it's still going, and that's all that matters right now. But I have a brand new prop at home, so I'm not really too worried about how damaged this one gets, as long as it gets us back to the boat ramp. So we finally made it to our destination about 16 miles later at Wekiva Island. They got docking right here for boats, and as you can see, for a Thursday, it is packed. This is definitely a party spot. They have a full bar. They got little food truck restaurants, plenty of covering for the rainstorms during the summer, swimming. They have rentals for kayaks, paddleboards, little boats, probably even have a boat launch. They got reservable places for private parties. They got places right there you can rent for like business meetings and stuff like that, convention little things. So motorized watercraft are not allowed past the bridge. That's where the springs are. And if you go past the bridge and take a right, that is Rock Springs Run, and that'll take you to Kings Landing, Kelly Park, and those springs over there. So it'd be cool to take the boat up there, but unfortunately we're not allowed. So this is the end of the run for us, a whole 16 to 20 miles, depending if you venture off on any of the other little side creeks. But we used almost a half a tank of gas, and I brought a gallon extra right there just in case. So It is already 3:36. We're gonna start heading back just so we don't get back in the dark. I don't want to navigate all those stumps and logs and everything, plus the alligators in the dark. Even though I got the LED lights in the front, it'll make it really easy, but I'd rather just be on I-4 as the sun's going down. I just cannot get enough of these air plants. I think they're the coolest things in the world. We were in the Everglades last year and they were all blooming, so all the trees were like nice and pink and red. And it just looked awesome. Anyway, we're racing two things right now. We're racing the sun going down. We're also racing the fuel tank, so we got about 13 miles left. So we made it through all the high-speed grassy areas, and that was probably some of the most sketchiest stuff. Just because there's so many sandbars and so much grass, you really don't know which way to take. There's like 6 routes. But we made it. We didn't get stuck or anything this time. We made pretty good time. I think we were running like 18, maybe 20 miles an hour the whole time. We had to stop for a few kayakers. But we're in the home stretch. This is where all the alligators were, and this is where it gets all twisty-turny. There's an alligator. You see one? Little baby one. So we never thought we'd have this much trouble trying to find alligators for you guys to film. But we've literally seen just a few alligators. Is that one right there? We've seen just a few alligators today. And as soon as we whipped out the cameras, they all dipped on us, so. If you guys want to see alligators, leave a comment and we'll go to Circle B Bar Reserve and we'll film a whole bunch of alligators for you guys. They have some monsters over there on Lake Hancock. For those of you wondering about campsites, we saw about 3 or 4 campsites. This is probably the best one. It's more open. It's got a fire pit / trash pit right here. Good trees for hammocks. And most importantly, I think there's a poop chair over here. or something. I don't know what it is. Looks like Old Man Walker. Yeah, it's definitely a little porta potty right there. This is a beautiful area. Pretty secluded. You'll hear an occasional airplane or something fly over, but you don't hear any kind of traffic or anything. And again, you can see the water line on the trees, how flooded this area gets. So we definitely got skunked today when it came to wildlife. We saw just a few turtles, just a few alligators, probably 3 in the 8-foot range. Other than that, any little sunny area, any perfect log where you thought there would have been tons of turtles, there was nothing. It was just all empty. So we're definitely going to come back during the middle of summer when it's really hot. And we're going to start earlier in the day. That way we can enjoy the island over there, get something to eat, and maybe paddleboard or something like that, go to the springs. But I'll make a Facebook event for that in the future. And there's information in the description of the video if you guys want to follow along on Facebook. That way you can find the events. So you can join if you have a smaller boat, a John boat or something like that. You can join along on these rides we go on. So we made it back to the no wake zone, which means we're near the mouth of the river and the St. John's River. So once we get to the St. John's River, it's just a quick little mile or so to the boat ramp, and not too bad a time. It's 5:08. I think we left the island at what, 3:30, 3:28, something like that. So we didn't do too bad, but of course it's a lot faster on the way back because I kind of got familiar with the river and I know where to slow down and where the logs and stumps are. So we were maintaining a pretty good speed. And now we're on the St. John's River. So we just left the St. John's River. Now we're gonna eat at a place called the Swamp House. So we're gonna see if they have pretty good food. It's packed for a Thursday, so I imagine that's because they got really good food. So the Swamp House Riverfront Grill has a pretty good menu. They actually have gator tacos, which I've never seen before. There's always gator appetizers, but I've never seen actual dinner of gator tacos. But I think I'm gonna go with the fish and chips. Would you say you're gonna get the grouper sandwich?
I want the grouper sandwich.
They got lunch specials, dinner specials. They got Hawaiian pork sandwich. You see that boat coming over there? You want to try one of my french fries? So that's the grouper sandwich. Looks pretty good. And there's my fish and chips. The sun is starting to set. So that was really good food, and this restaurant is conveniently located next door to the ramp. So we have to go out this entrance, and it's about 75 yards to the ramp. So we will be able to load the boat before it gets dark. So we're definitely gonna come back here when it's summertime. We can enjoy the cool water and enjoy the island some more. It's a pretty cool place. It was pretty poppin' for a Thursday. So again, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, guys, if you enjoy watching these videos. We have a lot of fun making them. Pretty successful boating trip, if I don't say myself. Four-wheel drive still doesn't work. 13,000 miles later, still broken. Anyway, guys, see you next Thursday for the next upload.